Hello everyone, welcome back to Art Therapy with MindSoulMeditations. Before we get started, let's take a moment to take a deep breath and let it out slowly. And another one. Let's dive right into the subject of hope and art therapy. You know that feeling when you spot a rainbow after a stormy day? That's hope in action, my friend, and guess what? Art therapy is like your personal rainbow making machine. Imagine you're feeling a bit stuck, maybe like you're trudging through mud, then you prompt some images, try out some new themes or styles, and suddenly, bam, you're creating your own little world of possibilities. Art therapy is hope's secret weapon. It's where you can visualize your dreams with pixels or map out your future with a series of images. The best part? There's no right or wrong way to do it. Your art is as valuable to you and your journey as the Mona Lisa. Through art, you might discover hidden strengths you never knew you had. Maybe that blob of red that manifested actually represents your inner courage. Or that surreal stick figure under the moon. It could be your future self, standing tall and proud. As you create, you're not just making art, you're crafting hope. Each prompt, each pixel, each splash of color is a step towards a brighter tomorrow. It's like planting seeds of positivity in your mind's garden and watching them bloom into beautiful possibilities. No need to raid the art supply store, just fire up that AI art generator and let's get creative. Your future self is already doing a happy dance at the digital masterpieces you're about to conjure up. Who knows, you might just become the Picasso of positivity in the digital realm. In today's special segment, I offer a curated collection of artwork by the art community on X, formerly known as Twitter, that was created specifically for this episode. Please enjoy this brief presentation of art and the inspiring directions that these artists took when crafting their visions of hope. So today, as we start on the topic of discovering hope, I'd like to begin with a gentle visualization. So I'd like you to take a few deep breaths. And imagine yourself standing on the edge of a new day. The sky is just beginning to lighten, that magical moment between darkness and dawn. Around you, everything is quiet, but there's a sense of anticipation, like the world is taking a deep breath before awakening. In your hands, you hold a small seed. This seed represents hope, not as something grand or overwhelming, but as something delicate, quiet, yet infinitely powerful. Feel its potential in your palm. It doesn't need to prove anything. It simply is. The ground beneath your feet begins to soften, not from weakness, but from readiness. This earth has held countless seeds, supported endless beginnings. Place the seed gently into the soil. Notice how it's not a struggle, but a quiet surrender, trusting that something will grow. feel a soft warmth beginning to rise, not from the sun yet, but from deep within the earth. This is the warmth of possibility, a gentle persistence. It whispers. Growth happens in the dark before anyone sees it. Watch as tiny roots begin to stretch, not frantically, but with very quiet intention. They don't know exactly where they're going, but they know how to move towards light, just like hope, just like you. Breathe into this moment of becoming. Whisper to yourself. Hope doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It simply continues, quietly, persistently, turning towards the light. Your hope is not about knowing the entire journey. It's about trusting the next breath, the next moment. Like this seed, you don't need to see the entire forest to begin growing. Feel the first hint of green beginning to emerge. Soft, tentative, beautiful. You are hope in motion, always becoming, always rising. Take this feeling with you as you open your eyes. Hope is not something that happens to you. It's something you nurture, one quiet moment at a time. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're doing hope as our theme. So let's create some beautiful art together. So for our prompt today, I'd like to create a scene where a woman is smiling, surrounded by abstract elements of nature like blooming flowers, flowing water, and radiant sunlight. This can symbolize the hope and renewal found in nature. So I do have a list of style references that I may try, but I'm kind of curious to look for something new. So I'm going to run the style reference on random. I'm going to repeat it 10 times. And I'm doing this on relaxed mode, so I can run a number of different prompts at once and then take my time looking through them. So I'm going to go ahead and run those. So I ended up running quite a bit more than just 10 because I wasn't really happy with most of the results that I was getting back. But I did compile a list of style references that I did like, so we're going to try those out. I think the prompt is fairly simple and basic and should be flexible enough to give us what we're looking for to get our sense of hope. I might change my aspect ratio. I'm going to go a little bit wider. So I really like how these came out. They're crafty, Art Deco. There's a lot of superimposing taking place. It's capturing all of the elements that I was looking for. And overall, these right away make me happy. So I'm going to try it in Niji as well. So one of the things I do sometimes when I'm putting my prompt back in is I'll actually just use these little tags that are on the right underneath my prompt, and I'll manually click on these to pick style references or to pick the amount of stylized. Now I do have some of this stuff as default, so I don't need to click it. But if I want to grab my aspect ratio and style reference and I don't need to grab everything else, I can just do it from here. It saves me from having to go in, click on the image, and then click that prompt button. I can just do everything right from my Create tab. I'm just going to change this to Niji. So I'm going to create another one here using a style reference. And I'm going to go at it the lazy way like I like to do often. I usually just work right from my Create screen once I've got a prompt that I like. So there's a number of things I can do to speed up my processes. I can click on the prompt and that'll put the prompt in just as is with no parameters added to it. Just going to remove that. The other thing I can do is I can go to rerun if I want to run another one. If I click on use, it's the same step as if I went into the image and then clicked on the prompt button down in the bottom corner. So to save myself time, so I don't actually have to go into the image if I'm trying to work through something quickly, is I'll just use the use icon and button to quickly put the prompt back in, and then I can make modifications. Anything that I have that's sort of a preset like style raw and my stylize, I don't necessarily need to click on those. Now I clicked on sref even though I'm going to change it, but that's just because I'm lazy. So instead of having to type out --sref, I can just grab where I have my notepad, I have the style reference already copied, and just paste that in. Now I do note that lately we get this ::1 at the end of a style reference. That's code that's used to put emphasis on the style reference. So you can delete that if you want. It may put it back in. It's not really important. If you copy your prompts and it has the ::1, it's no big deal to have that there. It's not actually part of the style reference code. It's just applying strength, saying that this is important to your prompt. But if you're using that ::1 to put emphasis on something else in your prompt, then you definitely want to remove that if it's not your greatest emphasis. So let's take a look at these. I think that's pretty cute. I actually really like this one. I would maybe use this one as an image reference. I would probably modify that earring first and take that out. What I like about it is the pose, but I think I'd like to see a different background or more in the upper portion of the image. So I think I'm going to grab the editor and quickly take out this part of the earring. We'll submit that and see if we can get that earring out. And with that same prompt, this is in version 6.1. Not as fond of it in this version. So I'm just going to use the use button again. And I'm going to change out that style reference to a new one. Leave it in 6.1 and we'll try another one. Let's take a look at these. There's definitely a lot of emphasis on gold in these ones. I'm not really happy with the composition of any of them. So that tells me that maybe I need to give it a little bit more information, like do I want to see a full body? Do I want to pose her? So if I wanted this style, I would need to maybe build on my prompt and give it a little more detail to get my composition right. Or another thing I can try is also changing the aspect ratio and see how the composition works out with a different aspect ratio. So I've gone ahead and run a few extra style references, and we'll just take a look at some of these. So I do like these that are done in Niji. They sort of have a risograph or a stamped type of print to them, and I think they're really fun. So I like all of those. Are completely different when you flip it into version 6.1. They have a completely different look to them. Here these are in version 6.1. What I like about some of them is the light that seems to come from the forehead. I like that her chin is up and she's smiling in these. Again, we've got some light in her forehead. And then completely different again when you flip into Niji with the same style reference. So I would actually maybe play with these a little bit more. And then finally we have one that's a lot more psychedelic. And this is in version 6.1. And in Niji. I think I prefer the ones in Niji. I really like the contrast and the rainbow effect here. I do see a lot of hope in some of these. I think this is adorable. So it gives us some ideas of different types of prompts we can play with. You might want to try something a little bit more, like what does hope mean to you? And what symbols do you want to see incorporated in your artwork? So you can take this base prompt and you can modify it and add all of the symbolism that you think is going to build the vision that you have for hope. I hope you enjoyed today's prompts and they'll inspire you to create your own images of hope. But you know what's really cool about art therapy is this amazing way to build hope when you're feeling down or stuck. Like if you think about it, sometimes you just can't find the words for what you're feeling, but with art you can just let it flow onto the paper without having to explain yourself. It can be really empowering. Plus there's something really satisfying about actually creating something with your own hands, or even through typing in a prompt like, hey, I made that. That's all me. It gives you this sense of control when other things might feel out of whack in your life. The brain science behind it is pretty neat too. Making art triggers all these feel-good chemicals in your brain, kind of like a natural mood boost. And when you're doing art therapy with others, like we are, it's like this invisible thread connecting everyone together. You don't need to talk, you just need to be there, create, support one another, and if you feel like it, you can share your art and tell the story behind it. The best part is watching yourself get better at it over time, not because you need to be some amazing artist, but because you can literally see your progress right in front of you. For me, that's sort of the journey that I took. When I first started as an AI artist, I wasn't that great at it. And over time, I was like, oh, a lot of my art kind of looks like everybody else's. But I found my footing. I learned how to build my prompt. I learned how to put me into my art to create something that was more meaningful to the message I wanted to have in my artwork or that I wanted to share with the world. Creating your art and focusing on hope today is going to feel like leaving little breadcrumbs of hope that remind you that better days are possible. It's pretty amazing how a little bit of artwork can do all that, isn't it? So I'd love to have you share your artwork with me. I'd love to see your vision of hope, and I hope that you had a great day. Today's affirmation is, I hold hope as a beacon that lights my path. It is the unwavering belief that tomorrow holds endless possibilities for growth and joy. Thank you for joining me for another day of art therapy. I hope you enjoyed the session, and I hope you had a chance to create some really amazing art. Make sure to join me again tomorrow, and I really look forward to seeing you there.